Hey everybody, check out these classics from the vault. You'll love them. Here we go.
Well, hello. How you doing? This is the S. Anthony Says podcast. This is the S. Anthony Thomas, and this is episode number 265. Oh yeah. Thank you very, very much for stopping back. To my longtime Sass Bastards and to my new Sass Bastards, welcome. You know, folks, I was thinking about some things, I got to get a couple of repairs done, and I got to stockpile a little bread before I get those repairs done. They'll get done, but they won't get done as quickly as I would like them to get done. And that's the problem when you don't have enough bread. I remember being really super duper mega ultra broke. And the funny thing is, even when you're broke, you can actually have good things. You can have good, nice things in your house. You can splurge on something good and nice. Maybe you're treating yourself. But a lot of times we overextend to get that good, nice thing. And I've been there too when I was in my 20s. I really was. But here's the thing. When a person has some money and they get a nice thing, if that nice thing gets messed up or stolen or blown up or broken, they can afford to get it fixed or replaced. It's a minor annoyance to them because they can just get it done. Right? I remember when I was living with a girlfriend and it was like before, I remember earlier it was like, oh man, the bills. Then when we started doing the bills at the table, it was like, let's pay the bills. Oh, that's broken. Let's get another one. You weren't not rich, just a regular lower middle class couple. It was just okay. You could do some things. Maybe you can go on vacation or something. You can't. You're not rich, but you can pay your bills. But I know what it was like to not be able to pay crap. And I mean, when you got something nice for yourself, you had to guard that crap with everything that you had. Right? If somebody sneezed towards your television, you're going to wait a second. That sneeze might actually break the screen. A sneeze can't break the screen. Do you know that for sure? You know what I'm saying? You just had to protect everything. When I was a young guy, that was the beginning of the sneaker craze. When people would buy the best sneakers and the greatest sneakers and the coolest sneakers. And I got these Jordans, and get these Jordans, double Jordans and quadruple Jordans and all of that crap. And you walked around with your best shoes on, and everybody, it was like a shoe showcase. Everybody goes, look at those shoes and look at these shoes and look at those shoes. Your shoes are nice. My shoes are nice, but his shoes. And then there was always a guy that walked in. Oh, you got the Jordans, the triple Jordans. I got the quintuple Jordans. Y'all a bunch of losers. I hate that guy. You know what I'm saying. But you only had the one pair of sneakers, and you guarded those sneakers with everything that you had. Because this is kind of a stereotype and a joke now when people go, man, you stepped on my shoes, and people would fight. Well, I got news for you. That was not a stereotype. When I was a teenager, when people were buying those sneakers, when the sneakers crazes and all that crap started, you better not step on anybody's sneakers. You better not step on anybody's brand new shoes. You better not spill a drop of somebody's brand new silk shirt. You better not unless you felt like rolling around on the ground. Now, if you really think about it, if you think about it logically, somebody accidentally steps on your sneakers, then you get into a fight. Yes, maybe you win the fight. But now you got blood all over your silk shirt, and quite frankly, you probably got mad and threw one of your shoes at the bastard, and now your shoe's down the drain. If you would have just said, oh, that's cool, man, just be careful, man, and went down and wiped your shoes, you wouldn't have been rolling on the ground, punching each other in the face, you dumb bastards. But that's the thing, man. You had that one thing. It was so valuable and precious to you. You got to guard those sneakers. You got to guard them, got to guard them. Nowadays, everybody kind of has 45,000 pairs of sneakers. They still get mad when you step on them, but all they do is give you a mean look and then pull out their special shoe cleaning kit that they had in their back pocket and clean their shoes, and their special travel dryer that they have in their trunk. They put their shoes in, press the button, and my shoes are now dry. You're lucky I had my travel dryer and my travel shoe cleaner, you bastard. You're lucky. Okay, that does not exist, but I'm pretty sure at some point it will. But the thing I was trying to point out is that when you don't have a lot of bread, you don't have a lot of money, when you're broke, you kind of learn how to live without things, right? Because you can't replace those things, so you learn to live without things, right? I remember having a leaky pipe under the faucet in my kitchen in my bathroom in LA, and I did not have enough money because I just moved out to LA. This was my first apartment. I just did not have enough money to get it fixed. I went to the landlord, could you fix it? No, punk. We ain't fixing jack. You're lucky we don't throw your punk ass out, you young punk. It was kind of weird that the guy talked then like I talk now. Okay, he didn't say it that way, but you get the point. And I found that it would cost $150 for the person to replace the pipes, because the landlord literally goes, well, there was nothing wrong with the pipes before you got here. I'm going, well, how long have the pipes been there? Well, this is 1994, so the pipes have been here 97 years. It's like the pipes had been there. I'm serious, it's like, George Washington said, the pipes in Miss Anthony's rooms several years from now, they shall be still working. And the only thing was, I just happened to be the one that came into the apartment and took the apartment over at the point where the 9,000-year-old pipes burst. Right? I pulled open the damn things. I looked under there, see if it was something I could fix myself. And it turned out the crack was at a really bad place where you couldn't tape it. You literally had to replace the pipes, right? And it started to drip on stuff down there. And it started to smell bad. And I realized that the reason it smelled that bad was because there was a sandal down there. And I took the sandal out and it said, property of Jesus the Christ. And I went, good Lord, these pipes have been here for a long time. I'm just kidding. Jesus' sandal was not under there, but his pocket watch was. I'm not good at history. Now listen. So I decided to fix the pipe myself, and I couldn't. There was nothing I could do. Right. And so what I did was I put a cup under there. And the first time when I put the cup under there, it took about 12 hours for the drip that was coming down to fill the cup. And I started going, well, if it takes 12 hours, I'm usually never out of the house more than about 9 or 10 hours. So, I'll come back after, I'll change clothes and then I'll dump out the cup and I'll put it back down and then I'll go to the clubs and do my shows and whatever. And then I'll come back. No big deal. A month goes by. Now I realize that now that cup is full really fast. So now I put one of those little punk flower pots that would underneath it. And the flower pot's a little bit bigger than the cup. Okay. It's a lot bigger than the cup. And I'm going, okay, well, if the cup is 12 hours, I did the math. Okay. At this rate, this flower pot should take about 10 hours to fill up at the rate that's good. That's enough time. I'm usually only out of the house about 9 hours anyway. No big deal. I'll be fine. I leave. Another month goes by and now the flower pot is not enough. And I take the flower pot under there and I put a bucket under there and I'm going, well, this damn bucket better last 12 hours because it's the biggest bucket that'll fit under there. And I can't, then some time goes by and now the bucket it gets full. So now I literally have to come back to the house to turn the water off, to take the bucket out and dump it and then go back to the club. I know what you're thinking. S. Anthony, why don't you just turn off the water under there? If you turn off the water under there, you don't have a problem. That was broken as well. Couldn't turn the water off. Don't you think I would have turned the water off if I could have turned the water off, you bastards? How dare you? Back to the story. But the thing about it was I learned to live with it. I learned to come back and put the bucket underneath and to dump the bucket and to go to the club and to tell some jokes. Then to go between shows, get back in the car, drive back to the house, put the bucket underneath, buck up up the bip, scoop a doop bip, dop a dip the bip. And it never changed. And eventually I was able to stockpile enough bread and I got the damn thing fixed myself. And that slick ass landlord trying to be slick, trying to be cool, say, hey, what's going on? I got the plumber for you. You ain't get the damn plumber. You probably waited till you saw me fix the crap, you bastard. And I got another place, which was with a landlord that wasn't a piece of crap later on. But up until then, I learned to live with all the things that were wrong. You learn to live with it. You learn to live with it. Sometimes you learn to live without things, right? You ever have a relationship with somebody and because of your schedules, you don't see each other as much as a normal couple would, right? And all it takes is one minor fight where you try to be passive aggressive to each other to shut that whole relationship down because you don't miss them at first. If I'm a stand up and I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks and you work at an office or you're a salesperson or you travel a little bit and we're used to not seeing each other for a couple of weeks. And then if we were fighting and I'm not talking to her, I'm not talking to him. So you to do that little passive aggressive thing where you decide not to talk to each other. Then all of a sudden what happens? A month goes by and then 2 months go by. And all of a sudden you don't even feel like you have a significant other. You're sitting there thinking, well, if she didn't call me in 3 months, then she doesn't care. And she's thinking the same thing. And on the whole while, The fight wasn't really that big of a deal, but you got used to not being around each other. You started to build your lives without each other. And all of a sudden you found out that you realize you broke up with somebody and you don't remember why. You learned to live without them. It's amazing how that works, isn't it? That's how I got heavy. There was a point before this time getting heavy where I wasn't just in okay shape. I was in super duper good shape. Okay. I was in, oh man, it's hot in here. I better take my shirt off. It's 60 degrees and it's 60. Yeah, that sounds hot to me. Ah, boy, oh boy. Well, it's still hot. I better take these pants off and put these Speedos on so you can see my genitals and buttocks. Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave this store, Come on, But what started to happen was I started to work. I kind of was like, well, I'm already in shape. And you make the mistake of thinking that being in shape is the finished product. God, I had never been that kind of shape before. Intellectually, you have to do maintenance workouts. But I went a couple of weeks and it didn't work out at all. Still had the same body, not a problem. Gained a couple pounds. Hey, I'm still not fat. I'm not as in good a shape as I was before. Not a big deal. Well, I gained a couple of pounds, but I can still take my shirt off. I'm not as sliced as I was. I have smooth muscles now. Not a big deal. Okay, maybe I don't want to take my shirt off all the time. But it's not that bad, but you get fat bastard. I had actually moved working out and eating right out of my schedule. I learned to live without doing the thing that got me in shape. I learned to live without it. And oh no. And the reason I even brought this up is because in about 4 months, I'm going to start picking up the microphone again and performing and doing some of the material that I've written during the course of this time, because I want to start getting back to active stand-up again, because I was a damn good stand-up and I want to do it again. And the thing about it was I never thought that I would go this long a time trying to do things that weren't stand-up on the entertainment side. And I never thought I'd take this kind of time off. I remember when I started doing it and I was doing it all the time. As a younger person, I was actively doing and thought of as one of the best around. It never occurred to me that I would take a second off, let alone a long period of time. I haven't done active stand-up since 2010 or 2011. Have I done some shows here or there? Yeah. I just did the old act that I remembered it, so I just did it. Hey, that's great, huh? But I didn't want to do that act anymore. I'm not that guy anymore. That material doesn't fit me anymore. It's like wearing bell bottoms and crap like that. It's like it just doesn't fit me anymore. It's like wearing one of those pimp hats and the collar with the fur on it and walking around with the music behind you. Funky man. He's a funky man. He's a funky man. Actually, that was before my time, but you get the point. Right? And I don't want to do that. That's what that act felt like to me. I evolved as a human being way past what that act was. Does it still work? Sure. Could I walk out right now if I snapped my fingers and just appeared at a comedy club that was packed and I did that old act, would it work? Of course it would work. But I don't want to do that anymore. I could put on clothes that don't fit me. They'd cover me and protect me from the elements. Doesn't mean I want to walk around wearing them, right? So I got to go back and do active stand-up again because it's what I love to do. The only thing I like doing as much as this is that. And so I'm going to go back to doing that in approximately about 4 months. And I realized that it never occurred to me that I would go this long without doing stand-up on a weekly, daily basis. But what started to happen was I started getting involved in this little thing, and I started doing a little bit of that, and doing a little bit of that. And it happened right around December. And it was really weird because sometimes the last 2 weeks of December, I wouldn't do any gigs. I'd maybe do a New Year's Eve show or something like that. But I spent that time with family, or if I had a girlfriend at the time, I'd spend that time with them. Or you're doing all that Christmas stuff and you figure, let me knock all of this out. Being off stage for a couple of weeks don't mean anything. And I had gotten used to doing that. And then some other things started to work out and I started to do those things. And some other things started to be cool and I started to do those things. And then there was a month. And then I'd do a show. And then 3 or 4 months would go by. And then I'd do a show. And then a year would go by. And then I'd do a show. And then a year would go by. And a year would go by. And a year would go by. And I hadn't done a show. The thing I love to do probably the most, other than this or getting it on with a hot woman, I had gotten used to not doing it. I allowed that to happen to me. And it's really weird. It really is analogous to breaking up with someone without actually breaking up with them. You have nothing bad to say about the person, right? You didn't want to break up with them, but it just kind of happened. You can't even go through your mind and find anything bad about the person that made you go, why would I break up with them? I don't even understand it. Everything was great, but you wound up separating and you don't know why. I don't know if it's happened to you, but you break up with somebody like the way I described in the beginning of this segment, and you run into them again, and you're going, what the hell happened? And you meet them and you talk to them, and a lot of times when you meet someone that you broke up with before, 30 seconds into the conversation, you're going, glad you got rid of me, or glad I got rid of your ass, and that's what you're thinking. But then you're going, whoa, no, it just doesn't make any sense. And now they're talking about their husband, right? Or vice versa. They're talking about their wife or whatever, and you're going, what the hell? And you're both looking at each other like, oh man, I shouldn't, and then you go about your business. And when I've been doing this podcast, sprinkling a little comedy into these stories, it reminded me of doing stand-up and how much fun that was, how much I enjoyed, and how I really believe I was born to do that too. And I know you can relate to that, right? There's something that you were doing and you don't know why you stopped doing it. Like, what the hell did I stop doing that for? I like doing it. I liked throwing a football to my kid. I like sitting down with my daughter and, having little tea parties. But now all of a sudden, now she's too old for that crap. Now she's 13 years old and I'm not, hey, daddy. I'm like, Dad, oh God. He's like, hey, daddy. And now he's like, hey, what's up, Pop? Gotta go. Right? And it takes a while to reconnect like you did back then with the kids. You can, of course, because I reconnected with my father in my 40s and we're cool. He's a great guy. But I think about the stand-up and I realize how good I was at it and how good I believe I'll be at it again. And I realize basically it's like being reunited with the love of your life. You don't know why you broke up. But now that it's approaching time to see her again, because this 4 months that I'm using to finish up some things before I pick up the microphone again, it's like I ran into an old girlfriend that I shouldn't have broken up with in the first place, who didn't want to break up with me, and I didn't want to break up with her. And we're going, I'm single and she's single, and she's interested, very, very interested, and looks at me and goes, well, I really got to get that guy back. And I'm looking at her going, I got to get her back, and we want to get back with each other. But she's going to be out of town for 4 months, and then she's going to come back to move near where I am permanently anyway. That's what it feels like. I didn't want to break up with her, stand up. And obviously stand up didn't want to break up with me. And we ran into each other. And 4 months from now, she's moving back. And we'll have to start from scratch again. I'm not going to be able to be as good as I was when I left. It just doesn't work that way. You don't take this much time off. No matter how talented you are or how funny you are, you don't just snap back at full strength right away. It just doesn't work that way. And if you meet somebody and they're the love of your life and you haven't seen them in 7 or 8 years and they want you and you want them, you realize there's been 7 years of evolution between on your side and on her side. And even though there's enough of you that wants to connect, you realize, and even if you say we're definitely going to do this, you still have to relearn each other. There's some stuff you remember, but you have to relearn. And if you stick with it, then all of a sudden, you walk down the aisle, you have some babies, you live happily ever after. In this case, I'll walk down the aisle, we'll stand up together again, we'll have some babies called successful comedy specials and TV shows and movies and all of that kind of crap, and we'll live happily ever after. But that's the thing, man. You got to remember, if there's something that's important to you, please, I'm telling you, I'm begging you, because I can't believe I allowed this to happen to myself. Even though there were some other good things I was working on, I still never put that microphone down. If there's something that's important to you, do not allow yourself to learn to live without it. If it's a significant other, don't allow yourself to learn to live without that person. Don't allow yourself to learn to live without those kids. Don't allow yourself to learn to live without your friends. Don't allow yourself to learn to live without anything that's important to you. Just don't do it. Because it really, really sucks. Because sometimes you don't get an opportunity to reconnect. But you will remember that you wanted to reconnect. And all you would be doing is sitting there kicking yourself because you didn't reconnect. That's all I'm saying. So, this is actually April 30th, and we're May, June, July, August. So beginning of September, I'm going to be picking up the microphone again, and pounding off chiseling off the rough edges of this crap that I wrote that hopefully if you come to see me that you'll like. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of excited. I'm excited the same way. Like I said, if there was this gorgeous sister that I loved, that beautiful chocolate angel, and fell apart, and I ran into her again, and she's just as awesome and delicious and incredible as I remember her to be, and she feels the same way about me. And 4 months from now, she'll be back and we'll begin dating again. That's what it feels like. Because comedy really, really has some nice tits and a juicy ass, and I can't wait to squeeze on them. Yeah, I can't wait to get a hold of comedy again, put some whip. It's getting kind of weird, isn't it? Wish me luck, my friends. Segment over. Well, folks, you've been asking me about it, and I'm going to tell you about it. Earlier, I put up a little post right after I got pulled over by the police, and it's been a long time since I've actually been pulled over by the police. And this is not an indictment on police officers overall, because there was a time I got pulled over by a police officer for running a stop sign. I didn't run the stop sign because I wasn't paying attention. I ran the stop sign because my carpet actually got yanked up from the bottom of under my feet, and it got caught into the accelerator, and I couldn't stop the car. Police officer pulls up behind me, pulls me over, comes up to me, extremely professional. He comes up to me, and you know the story if you listen to me for a while, 'cause I already talked about it. And he was extremely professional, extremely polite, no attitude, no bullshit. He just did his job, and I told him what happened. He believed me, did not give me a ticket, could have given me a ticket. The textbook says to give me a ticket, but he believed me, and I was polite to him, and he was polite to me. He was a professional. He's the kind of cop you want on the job. And most of the police officers that I've run across in my life have been that type of cat. But there's the other ones, and they're the ones that make it bad for the ones that do their job. And I ran into one of these guys, and it was really weird. I'm driving a Toyota Camry. I'm a 48-year-old guy. The guy in the car next to me was my uncle in his 70s. I'm driving him to the hospital to see my other uncle who's approaching his 70s. He's in the hospital, and he's going to be there for a little while. We're driving down this street. It's a series of stop signs. I, as a habit, always stop for a full second at a stop sign and then go. That way there's no ambiguity at all. Oh, and another thing you need to know, my car is fully paid off, and I have insurance, and my registration, everything is perfect, and I only have had gotten one ticket in my entire life, was back in the 90s, and I paid it the next day when I got home. That's the backstory. I'm driving, and I'm driving at the speed limit. I'm driving right around 25 miles an hour. I'm early. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not speeding. I tend not to speed anyway. Stop for a full second at every stop sign. And as you know, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, I have a high definition dash cam in my window. So the police officer comes up to the car, and at first I'm trying to figure out why he's pulling me over in the first place, because I am not speeding. I'm legal. And I stopped at the stop sign. So I see the car zoom up behind me really quickly and hit his flasher. So I'm thinking, oh man, somebody else must have done something bad. Somebody done effed up. Let me pull out of the way. Let this guy go there and take care of his business. I hope everything goes okay. Hope he goes home to his family. Hope whatever he's doing resolves itself. And he's behind me, and he's getting out of his car, and he's pointing to me. The hell's he pointing to me for? And I wasn't speeding. I had stopped at the stop sign, and all my stuff is legal. So what the hell's going on? He walks up to the car. He looks at me. I roll the window down. I said, before you say anything, officer, just so you know, because the motor and the passenger side of my there's a short in the wire in the motor and the passenger window. So I don't roll it down till I get it fixed tomorrow. Well, actually, tomorrow in real life, but like 2 or 3 days, depending on that. So I said, that, by the way, officer, that window over there doesn't roll down. So I'm not, just so you know. He goes, so I believe I've seen you around there before, buddy. I believe I've seen you before. He's giving me all this attitude, these bad vibes, being really snarky. Keep in mind, the only thing I've said to him was the window doesn't open. And I've seen you before, buddy. Huh? And I go, and I didn't say anything because I'm like, I'm not going to antagonize this guy because I don't know what he's doing. Now, he looks into the car to see who my passenger is, right? And he was about to, and he says, you know why I pulled you over? I pulled you over because you And he looks in. Now, I don't know why he stopped talking, but as it turns out, he probably saw that I have a dash cam hanging in the window. He goes, your lights are out in the back. Your lights were out. And I go, really? I said, my lights are out? And he goes, yeah. I said, how many? He goes, a bunch of them. I have 4 lights in the back of my car. A bunch of them. So when somebody goes a bunch, if he said, well, the passenger side or the driver's side, well, it was your turning. So if he had said that, it would have made more sense. But he sounded like a kid making up a lie for a parent. What time did I tell you to be home? Well, I don't know, nighttime, when it's dark. I said 10. You said 10. I only know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. I didn't know the number 10. That's what he sounded like. Right? Now, I'm sitting there looking at the guy and I'm going, well, I just put the bulbs in a few days ago, like a month ago myself, and my dashboard tells me when there's anything wrong with my lights. Okay? My dashboard goes and flickers. There's a sensor on it that tells me if there's anything wrong with the electrical system in my lights or if one of the lights is out. And I know that the light that tells me that the lights would be out is working because all of the lights come on when you turn on your car. So I know there's a high probability that there's nothing wrong with my lights. And I also know he probably was going to say I ran the stop sign, but he noticed the dash cam hanging in the window and recording. And he also stopped that "you look familiar" crap because he goes, "Do you have a valid license? Do you have a valid license?" So I go, "Yes, I do. It's in my pocket. It's right here. Is that okay if I get it?" "Yeah, go get it." I said, I pull it up really slowly. I open my wallet up. I pull my license out. I hand it to him. And he doesn't even look at it because he already realized he pulled me over thinking I was maybe someone else and decided to use something else to get me to pull over. And he goes, so where you going? I go, hospital. Which one? And I told him the name of the hospital really quickly. I didn't have to fumfer. I didn't have to go, well, I'm gay, but I'm not sure. I didn't make up any bullshit excuses because I'm a criminal. I just told him which one I was going to. Didn't have to make up anything. I could prove where I was going there because the people there were waiting for me to show up. So if there was any kind of conflict, I could go, they're waiting for me to show up. Why don't you call them and ask them? But I went there every week at exactly the same time. Every day at the same time. This is the day I was supposed to go. I knew that. And it became very clear that even though he was being a little snarky, a little smart-assy, and it was apparent that he was bullshitting for pulling me over, I was still polite to him. You see, if you're going to kick my ass or shoot me or something like that, you're going to have to go way out of your way. I'm not going to give you any ammunition. Nope. And he realized I wasn't going to be smart. He realized his partner was running my license plate. I could see that. I've been there before. I know what that looks like. And you could tell, I could see his partner looked at him like, dude, you might want to get that dude his license plate back. We done fucked up here. I could see that look on his face. And the guy goes, looked back at his partner, looked at my thing, looked at me, looked at the dash cam and goes, oh, well, here's your license, Mr. Thomas. Just, this, I said, so I look back and I said, so my lights are right. He goes, yeah, just make sure that the lights, all of them. And he gets back in his car and zips around the corner. So my uncle and I are looking at each other and we were looking at each other like, get the fuck out of here. Cause my uncle is in his 70s. He knows what this is like. Believe me, he's been pulled over before. Believe me. I'm 48 years old. I lived in LA in the 90s. So believe me, I know what it's like to be pulled over. I know what it's like to have guns in my face. There was no guns in my face in this case, by the way. I know what it's like to be laying on the ground with somebody, let me check your pockets. I know what it's like to be sitting on the side of the road and having everything in my car strewn out on the street and I have to pick it up myself when I was already in a hurry. I know what that's like. It's happened many, many times before. It's not my first rodeo. And I had a feeling this guy was pulling me over for a bullshit reason. But I wasn't going to give him any ammunition. My uncle has been in the situation 1.5 times. He just sat there like, yeah, he knows what to do, meaning me. Because I've had that talk before and I've given that talk to my nephews. Right? And he gave me that talk. I know what the deal is. Plus, I've already lived through it. So we're driving down the road and I'm laughing and he's laughing. He goes, you know that was complete bullshit, don't you? I was like, of course I know it was complete bullshit. I said, do me a favor. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to wait till we're way past wherever this police officer is so we don't antagonize his ass. I'm going to pull over and I want you to do me a favor. We pull up the street. I pull into a Rite Aid parking lot. I pull into a parking spot. He gets out because he wants to get some sodas. He goes to the back of the car and I go, ready? He goes, yep. I turn my left turning signal. He gives me the thumbs up. Turn my right turning signal. He gives me the thumb up. I step on the brakes. Brake lights work. He walks up laughing. He goes, yeah, these lights are really bad. Really bad. And I go, yeah. He goes, there's not a damn thing wrong with those lights. And I go, I know that. He goes, your sensor didn't go off, did it? And I go, no, it didn't. But here's the thing. And this is something that people don't understand, that don't have this situation. I have people that I grew up with who are cops, that are cops in my hometown. I got friends that I did comedy with that used to be cops. So I understand how tough the job is, as much as a person who does not do the job can. And I have a lot of respect for these brothers and sisters that do their job, because that is a tough fucking job. That is a tough job. You never know when you pull somebody over. You never know if that person is going to be a nutcase. You never know when you're going in and trying to save lives, what you're dealing with. You never know that. But from the civilian side, you got to understand how I feel, because I knew from the beginning you pulled me over for false pretenses. There was no reason to pull me over. I hadn't committed an offense. You were just fishing. You came up to the window and you said, you look like somebody I've seen around. I've seen you before. Already, you're basically saying you're a criminal, and I know it, and I've seen you before. You're a criminal. You hadn't even taken a good look at my face. And if you had looked at me and thought I was a criminal, you looked at me and you saw me in a car going by at 25 miles an hour. What are you, Steve Austin, $6 million man with an eye that can slow down shit and see close up? And even if you did have that power, you would have seen me and realized I wasn't the person you were looking for. You know what it feels like when you know your personal history and the history of your relatives, when somebody who has the power to kill you if they want to, and news stations that would say, because I'm so clean, I would, if my uncle and I got blown away in those cars, at first it was like, dun, dun, popular podcaster S. Anthony Thomas and his uncle were shot in a car. I don't know what happened. He probably jumped the cop. Here's an artist rendering of S. Anthony ripping the entire top off of his Toyota Camry and decapitating 6 people before attacking the officers. And he has no criminal record. He's never been arrested. Oh, well, we're going to have to pretty much bury this story now. And that's what would happen. They'd bury the shit out of it because I'm clean. That's what happens. But here's the thing. When somebody pulls you over and when they approach you on a lie, they've already lied, and lies tend to snowball. And it's uncomfortable because if they pulled you over on a lie, you don't know what's coming next. You really don't. And even though I've been in that situation literally a truckload of times, and I was completely calm because like I said, it's not my first rodeo. There's a little percentage of you going, all I got to do is say the wrong thing. And if this is a hothead guy, or if this is one of the bad ones, I could at the very minimum get a ticket for something I didn't do. It's uncomfortable, man. And I was laughing about it when it was over with, because once again, it happened before. And we're laughing about it. I even laughed at my uncle about it the other day after it was over. And he goes, he walked behind my car, goes, well, lights are still messed up. I go, yeah, I got to get those fixed. Kind of a gallows humor. But it's frustrating, man. It's really, really frustrating. I haven't seen you, so I haven't seen you around. Only where'd you see me? In a comedy club someplace? Television? I've done television before. See me in the newspaper? That's the only place you would have seen me. Maybe you see me at my coffee shop, but you have never seen me commit a crime, because I've never committed one. But he came up to the car as if I had. Like I said, I take into account how tough that job is. And he may legitimately have thought that I was someone who had committed an offense. But he didn't have to come into the car talking about, I've seen you before. Haven't I seen you around? I've seen you before. Haven't I run into you before? Why would you say that? If you're asking that question, it means you don't know. And if you don't know, it means there's a probability that I'm not that person. And if there's a probability that I'm not that person, you just insulted and insinuated the criminal behavior to someone who had done no crime. And that's what you did. I don't have as many hard feelings because I didn't get a ticket. Obviously, I couldn't have gotten a ticket. 1, I didn't commit an offense, and 2, I have a dash cam. But you kind of stuck your finger in my tea before I drank it, my friend. I was having a good day. And even though I laughed it off, and I'm talking about it on my podcast right now, come on, man. If you had come up to the car and said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, we were looking for someone who was driving a similar car. It's obviously not you. I apologize for that, sir. No problem. You keep going on with your day. Sorry about that. If you'd done that, I wouldn't even be talking about it on the podcast right now because that's happened before. I wouldn't even have brought it up. I would have thought nothing of it. I would have thought you were a police officer. You thought you saw something. You quickly assessed the situation. You did your job professionally and you moved on. But that's not what you did. You basically subtly called me a criminal. You basically subtly called me a criminal to my face. Right? You could look at me and see I wasn't the person you were looking for. You took my license for to look at it for absolutely no reason. You started off our communication based on a lie. You lied to get an opportunity to look into the car. So what does that say? So, I don't know how many people have gone through this on a regular basis, but it used to be a norm for me. And like I said, I've never committed a crime, and it's a little bit frustrating to have to go through that shit. But it really doesn't matter, because you doing what you do in an unprofessional way didn't change who I was, doesn't change who I am, doesn't change the way I go about my life. And after I record this, I won't bring you up again. But come on, man. I know a whole lot of police officers who do their job the right way, who wouldn't have pulled me over. And if they did pull me over, they would have apologized for pulling me over because you pulled me over based on bullshit. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Come on, man. Segment over. All right, everybody, let me ask you this. What is your guilty pleasure? Like on the internet. I talked before about one of my guilty pleasures on the internet was watching dash cam videos, and I'm not gonna, and that's usually one of the number one ones. And also, I'm 48 years old now. I don't have to act all super macho. I'll be honest with you. A lot of the times, I'll go and I'll look up YouTube videos about beagle puppies. Yeah, beagle puppies, because I like beagles and I like watching beagle puppies because they're mega ultra cute and I want to get a couple of beagles. When I move from where I am now, damn it, I'm getting 2 beagles. Yeah, that's right. And sometimes I like to watch videos of babies laughing. That shit's hilarious. There's a lot of babies in my family, and sometimes I'll go a few days without seeing one of the babies, and damn it, I'll go on there and I'm going, okay, this baby is great. This baby, they see the babies are laughing. I feel great. Yeah, that's right. And then every once in a while you see one of those, those acts of heroism videos. The mother picked up the car off of her child and saved the child's life. Dad swam 12,000 miles to save daughter and the woman. And brother jumped out of an airplane and caught a quarter that fell out of the pilot's pocket and somehow landed inside of the plane because he knew the part where the plane was going, and he angled his body to land back inside the plane because his little sister wanted that quarter to buy a bag of Cheetos. What a great brother that guy is. Yeah, damn right. Man sees baby looking at a fire and the baby's laughing because of the flicking lights, and just to entertain his baby, he lights himself on fire in his living room. He would probably have been better off just recording the fire that the baby was already laughing at, because that would have been less painful. And, okay, he was kind of stupid. I mean, what the hell was he? He could have just, like I said, recorded that one thing, but his dumb ass was so busy trying to impress the baby, he lit himself on fire. And ironically, the baby laughed, and his first words were, "Damn, Dad, you're a fucking moron," which is amazing because no one had ever cursed in the house before, but somehow the baby knew how to use profanity. Some of those weren't true. But there are acts of heroism sometimes, man. And I had one when I was a little kid. I've had some as an adult, but if you're an adult, it's really not a big deal. You're just being a good adult. But I remember I had one when I was a kid. Let me tell you a story. Now, I don't know what kind of neighborhood you guys live in, because there's a lot of there's different countries listening to this. But where I lived at the time in Philly, there were neighbors that were always they always had these dogs, and some people had dogs that were friendly. When the dog would come out, everybody would go, "Hey, Sparky's outside." You'd see Sparky running around because he got out of the gate. You'd run out, and Sparky would come up, and you'd hug Sparky, and the Sparky would lick your face. You play with Sparky, and the homeowner would come back, right? Oh my God, what happened to Sparky? And then he or she would come outside and they'd see Sparky sitting on somebody's porch with the kids, and the kids saved up some money and they bought their own dog food to feed Sparky and a water thing to feed Sparky. Because the owner is a moron and Sparky always gets out, but everybody loves Sparky. Everybody would get Sparky. If Sparky was walking down the street, you go, come here, Sparky. I don't want you running in the street. I don't want you to get hit by a car. Because Sparky was a good dog. And even though the owner should have been more diligent about letting Sparky out, it wasn't a big deal. Because Sparky was a great dog. We all love Sparky. And another dog. Hey, there's Champ. Champ's out. Oh, man, too bad Sparky's not out because Sparky and Champ could be out at the same time. And we could play with Sparky and Champ. And the same thing would happen with Champ. And you'd hug Champ and Champ would lick your face and play. And then Sparky would come out. And now you got Sparky and Champ, Champ and Sparky. We're a bunch of kids who are bad at making up songs. And you know what I'm saying. Right? And that would happen sometimes. But sometimes it wasn't Champ or Sparky that would get out. Because eventually those two people, even though they didn't mind Sparky and Champ getting out, and we didn't mind having Sparky and Champ out, they really thought it was kind of dangerous to let Sparky and Champ out because Sparky and Champ could have got hit by cars. So what would happen is when they would come home, because they knew that the kids had gotten in a relationship with Sparky and Champ, they'd actually bring Sparky and Champ out. You know, and they weren't really walking Sparky and Champ. They wanted to let the kids visit Sparky and Champ. So they go, hey guys, Sparky's out, Champ's out, yay. And he'd let Sparky and Champ out on purpose this time. And we'd all go and play with Sparky and Champ, yay. But Sparky and Champ weren't the only dogs in the neighborhood. No. Some of the neighbors had cats, and the cats would come out. Nobody would mess with the cats. And in fact, there would be times when you would come outside and people would see the cats on their cars and the cats would be on the porch. And just like Sparky and Champ, the cats would be out and we'd all pick up the cats and play with the cats, and the cats would lick us and we'd roll around with the cats and play with the cats and hug the cats and kiss the cats. And sometimes the cats would go into other neighbors' homes and people wouldn't even go walking down the street to see if the cats were out. They go, do you have my cat there? Here she is. Here's Sprinkle. Sprinkle is here. Yay. In fact, sometimes Sparky, Champ, and Sprinkle would be out, and guess what happened? Nothing, because Sparky and Champ were used to playing with people. And Sprinkles would walk up to Sparky and Champ. I actually walked out one side and saw them playing cards. Just kidding. They were smoking cigarettes. Just kidding. They were just acting like dogs and cats that weren't antagonistic towards each other. I have an active imagination. F y'all. But they weren't the only animals in the block. And this story now, Sparky and Champ and Sprinkles parts of the story are now over. We'll now move them out of the way. And we'll talk about the other dog in the neighborhood. Kid Eater. That wasn't actually the name of the dog, but we might as well have called the dog Kid Eater because Kid Eater would bite people. Kid Eater was a piece of shit. And unlike the other animals who were not part of the story anymore, when Kid Eater was out, nobody was outside to play with Kid Eater. You look outside, oh shit, Kid Eater's out. All the doors locked. You would actually put your windows down because Kid Eater would actually went through the window because Kid Eater carried weapons. That is also not true. But the part about him biting the crap out of people, that is true. Kid Eater would be out so much that you literally would have to walk around and you'd have somebody kind of take a quick peek around to see if Kid Eater was out. And Kid Eater didn't hide to chase kids. Kid Eater just sat there waiting like, I know your punk asses are coming. And if I get a chance, I'm going to bite one of you on the ass and have a nice kid ass sandwich because I'm Kid Eater, the dog that eats kids, damn it. And sometimes just to avoid Kid Eater, you'd walk 3 or 4 blocks out of your way, going around the other side and coming around the back way to go into your house. But Kid Eater was a piece of crap. Kid Eater was like, wait a minute, there's been no kids to eat. I haven't bitten a kid in a couple of days. Wait a second, there's another way around those bastards. And then Kid Eater would cut through the park and wait on the other side. That's how you knew Kid Eater was a piece of crap. Because you'd walk around the other side, but now you're not paying attention because you think Kid Eater is always on the other side 3 blocks away. But now Kid Eater figured it out. That's why I'm telling you, dogs are smarter than you think. Right? So we're walking down the street. We're not paying attention. We don't expect Kid Eater to be there. So we're just walking around. And I should have known something was happening because we were walking down the street and I could hear something in the back going, "Rrr, gotcha, you bastards." And I'm going, oh shit, here's Kid Eater. And we all ran and jumped over the fence. And Kid Eater couldn't get over the fence. And Kid Eater just, I didn't even know dogs had middle fingers, but Kid Eater gave us the double paw middle fingers, that middle finger having piece of crap bastard. And now all of a sudden we don't know how to go home. If we go one way, Kid Eater's already there. If we go the other way, Kid Eater now knows about that. And now you had to take your chance on how to get home because Kid Eater could have been in either place. That piece of crap. Bastard. You almost wanted to hear you almost hear the Mission Impossible music playing when you went home. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 Kid Eater, Kid Eater, Kid Eater, eats, killed it, dun, dun, Kid Eater, Kid Eater, Kid Eater, eats children, down, 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 down. And you knew if you got home safely, you were happy, but that also meant that some other kid got eaten on the other side, There were even some kids that were such pieces of crap, they would actually take other kids that were with them, big kids. They would lure bullies. "Oh, please don't kick my ass, bully." And you walk around where Kid Eater was, and then you'd make a lot of noise and pray that Kid Eater was there, because if Kid Eater wasn't there, you got an ass whooping from the bully. But if Kid Eater was there, the bully got his ass eaten by Kid Eater. And you had to act like it was a surprise. "I really didn't know the vicious dog was going to be here and bite the shit out of you." That's what you get, you bastard. But you really had to be very, very careful. You didn't know where Kid Eater was. So now we talk about acts of heroism. Everybody thought Kid Eater was gone. The people that had Kid Eater were gone, and we didn't see Kid Eater in the fence. Kid Eater was not in either one of the places. It was not around. Nobody had seen Kid Eater for a while. And as bad as it is to say, we were all hoping, please, please, please. Normally, I don't want this to happen, but gee, I hope a bus didn't hit Kid Eater and back over his ass and then run over him again, because we wanted that to happen. So I'm going to the store with my sister, and now we're walking very freely through this little alley. It's an alleyway between two houses that led to the store. It wasn't a big deal. Kid Eater hadn't been seen for a while, so me and my little sister could go to the store. We felt comfortable. My mother felt comfortable sending us. There was no Kid Eater around. Kid Eater was gone. Or so we thought. We're walking towards the store, and we're laughing and joking the way brothers and sisters do. And then I hear a familiar footsteps coming towards us. Now, on this particular occasion, and thankfully so, I was carrying one of my grandfather had a cane. And it was a cane that was made out of like a really light wood. It wasn't heavy. It was sturdy, but it wasn't heavy. And he didn't want it anymore because he had a better cane. And I said, "Can I have it, Grandpa?" And he said, "Yeah, go ahead, boy, take it." So I had the cane, and I'm walking around with the cane trying to be cool like those people I saw in the old movies. And being a bit of a douche as I am now and was definitely beginning to be then. I mean, no, I'm not now, nor was I then. F y'all. I'm walking down the street and I got the cane in my hand trying to be cool. I'm walking cool. My sister's, of course, ridiculing me the way younger sisters do. And I'm going, "You just jealous because you ain't got a cane." "I don't want a cane." "Yes, you do." "First of all, we too young to have cane." Whatever. Let's go to the store. And we're going to the store. And as I said, I heard the familiar footsteps. But it couldn't have been Kid Eater. Kid Eater's been gone for days. I'm pretty sure a bus backed over his punk ass, I hope. Bus did not back over him because it was Kid Eater. And my sister was closer to Kid Eater. And Kid Eater started running towards my sister. And under normal circumstances, I would have been petrified of Kid Eater. But that's my sister, dude. Fuck that. I had the cane in my hand. I grabbed the cane by the bottom of the cane, and I twisted it to the point where the hook was in front, And I looked at that mug like, if you ain't biting nobody here, Jack, I'll kill you before you bite my sister. And I ran towards him and I took the cane above my head and I screamed, "Yeah!" I was so angry. I was infuriated that this piece of shit was going to try to bite my little sister. Nah, son. Not today, baby. Not today. I'm only a little kid myself, but I'm bigger than her. And that's my sister. And I'm the brother. And you ain't biting nobody here, sucker. So I'm going up towards Kid Eater. And I'm going to go, I hope I get him in his eye. And Kid Eater sees me. And I'm thinking, okay, at least he's going to come towards me because now my sister is running, crawled on top of a car. And I'm saying at the very least, I'm going to crack this bastard in his head and do whatever it takes so she can run back to the house and get my mom. And then my mom could come back and stop Kid Eater from eating the other ass cheek that he will have been eating because he will have already devoured one of them. But Kid Eater sees me and Kid Eater goes, "Oh shit." Turns around like he's standing on top of a spinning wheel and runs down the alley away from me. And I realized, and when I thought back about it, I had never seen anyone ever fight back towards Kid Eater. When I thought about it, as I'm standing there, my sister comes off the car and we go back towards the house to tell my mom what happened. I realized, that's the first time I think anyone has ever challenged Kid Eater. It really was. I mean, every time a Kid Eater that always approached somebody, they always ran. Now, when I think back on it now as a grown-up, I realize most likely, because a lot of times when there's a vicious dog and you come at him with a stick, the dog doesn't back down. He may back up to change, and think about it, or back up to see if he can take you, or back up to get a better position to strike you. But they don't turn around on a dime and run in the other direction. Even if you have a baseball bat, I've seen it before. I've seen people, a vicious dog come at people with golf clubs, bats, and the dog's like, "I don't care about that bat, and I don't care about that golf club. I'ma bust your ass." But Kid Eater, a vicious dog as it was, saw me coming at him with that cane and saw me screaming and saw that I wasn't afraid. I was afraid afterwards because I'm like, I could have been killed. I was afraid afterwards. But at that moment, I was like, nah, you ain't biting my sister, son. Not today. Not today. And I realized there's got to be a reason that Kid Eater, when I think about it, and I thought about it later on, not later on in that moment, but later on, years later, the only reason that dog actually could have spun around and turned around and run from a little kid with a punk ass cane like that is because somebody has been cracking that dog in the head. Someone who actually could hurt the dog. Someone using something that actually could hurt the dog, cracked that dog in the head. That's the only reason. There's no other reason. And for a moment, I started feeling bad for Kid Eater. Damn. Maybe the reason Kid Eater was so vicious, it wasn't anything like the other two dogs, was because that dog was getting tortured and beaten up and treated like crap on a regular basis. Maybe the reason that a lot of people were getting bit by Kid Eater was not just because the dog was a dog, but because the dog was being treated like crap by the people that had the dog. And for a moment, I felt bad for Kid Eater. And as my sister comes off of the car and we walk back in the house, I felt like a little hero. I really did. You'd be surprised what you'll actually do in situations like that when it comes down to it. Because under normal circumstances, if that dog hadn't been tortured, it was just a vicious dog because it was vicious, that dog would have eaten me, eaten my sister, went up to my mom's house, knocked on the door, shit what's left of me and her on the porch, stood outside to the door with his arm folded going, "Yeah, that's what's left of your kids, broad. What you gonna do about it? I dare you to come out. I want to see if you taste like them because I just ate them." That's what the dog would have done under normal circumstances. I think back now when I think of Kid Eater. Well, he ate a couple of adults too, but he was mostly a Kid Eater. And obviously that dog is long dead now because I'm 48 now, and that was good Lord, damn near, well, good Lord, yeah, that's well over 3 decades ago. Good God, Jesus Christ, that kid's grandkid, that dog's grandkids are dead now. But I think back at that, man, and it's like you see these moments of heroism it happened. And everybody has a little bit of that in them. You've been there before, where something happens and you sprung into action to take care of business. I think fondly on those moments. I think I'm proud of myself for that. Because recently I was walking someplace with my sister. We're both in our 40s now. One of my sisters, the one that lives the closest to me, the one that was actually in this story. And there was a dog barking to a fence, and we both jumped. Right? And in the back of my mind, I don't even think she remembers the kid eater story, because she was a lot younger than I am. Not a lot younger. I mean, well, the difference in age isn't much now, but back then the difference in age was pretty big. And she's walking. She's like, man, that dog scared the crap out of me. And I was walking. I was giving her a ride someplace because her car was getting fixed, and she got into the car, and I was walking around to get into the driver's side of the car, and I was thinking about Kid Eater. And then I was like, wait a minute. I said, wait a second, I forgot something. When she got back out of the car, and I got back out of the car, and the dog barked again. And then I pushed her into the dog, and the dog bit her. And she goes, what the hell did you do that for? You got me bit. I said, listen, you owe me one. I could have gotten killed saving your punk ass a long time ago. If you don't remember Kid Eater, do you? And she goes, what? And then she shot me in the foot. And I'm like, really? I mean, I saved your life, but you just got me bit. I said, it doesn't really matter. Okay, that's not what's important. Okay, none of that happened. So what I'm saying is that there's every day. The Kid Eater part happened. The Kid Eater part happened. The part me pushing into the thing that didn't happen, obviously. But there's everyday heroism out there, my friends. I know you have it in you. I have it in me. And so when I look at those things on there where somebody saved somebody, I think about what a gigantic hero I was as a child. And I wonder why I don't have a Medal of Freedom and stuff like that, because that was pretty dangerous, a deadly dog, and I faced down that dog with a punk ass cane to save my sister. Come to think of it, I mean, she never really repaid me for saving her life. Every bit of her life that's gone on since the Kid Eater incident, she owes that debt to me. So. Even though I don't need any money from her, I'm going to borrow some money from her and then not pay it back. And then she's not going to ask for it back right away. First she'll be going, why do you need money? I normally borrow money from you, because, it's because you're too lazy to go to the ATM machine. Yeah, so I give it right back to you, don't I? Yeah, but still, that whole hour is an hour. I should be getting interest on that money. F y'all. But she owes me everything, damn it. She wouldn't have had her 4 kids if it wasn't for me saving her life back then, damn it. In fact, those 4 kids I should borrow money from them. Even though 3 are adults and one's still a kid, I should borrow money from the adults and then not pay them back. And then when they're like, oh, can we get that money back? No, you wouldn't exist without me, damn it. I saved your mother's life. Shut up. And then the kid, the young teen, I was thinking, hi, Uncle, can I borrow one of your video games? Sure. And then, hey, Uncle, could you bring the game back? Hell no, punk. If it wasn't for me, your punk ass wouldn't be alive. Shut up. Okay, I would not do that because that would be embarrassing. But we all have heroism in us, my friends, even if you haven't had an opportunity to use it, it's there. I know it's there inside of you. In fact, what I'd like to do is get all my sass bastards in all the countries together. We'll design a uniform and we'll call it the Sass Bastard and King Bastard Hero Army. And we'll go around the world saving lives, yeah. Granted, I'm going to need you guys to go out there and do all the dangerous stuff because I'm your leader. It's important that I stay nice and safe. And then when good things happen, I come out and take all the credit. No, you're not going to do that? Oh, F y'all. Segment over. Well, my friends, this has been episode number 265 of the S. Anthony Says podcast, and I want to thank you guys very, very much for stopping back, for my longtime Sass Bastards, and to my new Sass Bastards once again. If you got to this point, you mean you listened to the whole show. Thank you very, very much. If you like this show, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcatcher that you're listening on. And if you love this show, make sure you rate this program on whatever podcatcher and write a nice review if you like this show. This program is everywhere, baby. Everywhere. Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, iTunes, the Podcast Revolution Network. It is everywhere. And the home base is santhonysays.podbean.com. But all you really have to do, because this podcast has been around for a while, is you just Google it. Just Google S. Anthony Thomas, which is my name. Google the S. Anthony Says podcast, which is what you're listening to, and it'll pop up. And you know what to do from there. Tell a friend if you think your friend would like to listen to this crap too. Now, do me a favor if you can. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, S. Anthony Thomas. If you're on Facebook, go up to the top search bar, type in S. Anthony Says. You'll see my verified page there. Please click like, okay, because there's going to be some cool stuff coming up later on this year. Once I begin doing the stand-up again, there's going to be a whole lot of cool stuff coming up. So make sure you subscribe now and click like now, of course, okay? On Twitter, I'm in two places. For me specifically, my Twitter is at S. Anthony Thomas. My name, at S. Anthony Thomas. The show's Twitter is at S. Anthony Says. And for those of you that don't want to direct message me on Twitter or want to write something a little bit longer, any questions, comments, suggestions, declarations of love, then please feel free to email those to me at talktosanthony@gmail.com. TALKTO, my name, S. Anthony, @gmail.com. Folks, once again, in October, this podcast will be 4 years old. So we got a little bit of time before we get there, but we're heading towards it. And I want to thank you guys very, very much. You've been loyal. You've been telling friends. You've been really, really nice with the direct messages to yours truly and the email. I really, really appreciate that, man. I mean, it may not seem like a big deal to you to write a nice email telling somebody that you dig their show and stuff like that, but it really does warm a brother's heart. So I really let you know that I really appreciate that. I really, really do. No kidding with that. So, folks, more than anything else, I want to thank you once again for giving me some of your time. Thank you for allowing me into your earbuds, into your minds, into your hearts. I appreciate you. Much love to every last one of my sass bastards all over the world. My sass bastards in Canada, my sass bastards in France, and my sass bastards in China, my sass bastards in Australia, UK, and of course right here in the USA. And if I haven't said your country, it's because I didn't remember it, because I didn't write it down, but that doesn't matter. I love you bastards anyway. You dig? Of course you do. Now I'm going to say goodbye the way I always say goodbye, and I want you to say it with me. You want to say it with me on the count of three? Of course you do. Are you ready? Cool. On the count of three, we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3. S. Anthony. Out.
Go! S. Anthony Thomas. Go! S.
Well, hello. How you doing? This is the S. Anthony Says podcast. This is the S. Anthony Thomas. How are you doing? This is episode number 253. Oh yeah. Well, folks, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Yay! And that's not a fake yay. That's a real yay, because football is my favorite sport, closely followed by mixed martial arts. But it's still football, and football will probably maintain the number one position, which means obviously Super Bowl Sunday to me is a great thing, and I love every second of it. I'm actually recording this right before the game starts, because I know once the game starts, I am not recording a damn thing. And after the game's over, once again, I'm not recording a damn thing. I want to do this so I can sit down and watch the game and deal with the game and dig the game, because hopefully it's going to be a good game. Love it. And I love everything about the game. I love the pregame stuff. Well, some of it. I'm at the point now. I remember when you would watch the Super Bowl and there would be a pregame stuff, but the pregame stuff would start closer to the game. If the game was at 6 o'clock, maybe maybe I missed some of it, but I would only see pregame stuff maybe an hour or two before the game. Game starts at 6, pregame starts at 4:30 or 4. And that's fine, man. Because if you really think about it, they have a 1 hour pregame show to cover the entire league playing during the regular season. The entire league is playing and they have a 1 hour pregame show. Now you have one game, 2 teams, that's it, and it's over. And you need to have a 27 straight hours of programming based on the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is kind of like, like when you have a business in the town and all of a sudden other businesses build up around it. And they build up around it, and all of a sudden there's bus routes coming right in front, right through it, and all of a sudden they take the subway and they extend the subway right past the business because everybody knows that's where the business is. Well, the thing about it is, when you have a local business that's great and everybody goes to it and people start to build off of it, at first it's really cool. Hey, it's a hub of activity. Hey, it's great. Look at all this stuff that's building up around this business. This is great. This is awesome. Then after a while, it becomes a little bit too much, right? You had the mom and pop Italian restaurant, and then the Chinese restaurant opens up. Cool, that's great. Then the other restaurant, then the other restaurant, then all of a sudden you got food carts, right? Then you got stuff across the street, then the supermarket opens up, then the movie theater opens up. Hey, great. And now you went from, it was a great little thing we had to ourselves. It was great. It was awesome. And now all of a sudden everybody shows up. Riff Raff City shows up. All of a sudden a cute quaint little area that was sweet and nice and cool and off to the side just becomes another street. It's just like the street you live on. When you go outside your house and your street was cool and all of a sudden a bunch of other jackasses come through. Maybe there was a parade. Maybe you live by a football stadium. Maybe something big happened. Maybe there was a block party somewhere. And all of a sudden the street that was nice and cool and great and everything is now coated with crap. People got trash all over the place. People getting drunk and peeing on the side, or even worse, the side of your building, vomiting and various other bodily functions that we shall not mention, but let's just say from the buttocks. Yes, that's happened to people that I know. And it all started when you just had a nice little area and it started to grow a little bit, but it went out of control. And that, my friends, is what has happened to the beloved Super Bowl. It happened a long time ago, but I've only had this podcast for 3 years, so I can't have done it before. So shut up, punks, to be saying we already know this, damn it. Like I said, you get a 1 hour pregame show with the whole league playing, but now I came back from the supermarket. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning and I already saw a local show in this particular area that I am right this moment, not my home area, but where I am right now. And I don't know if this was a normal thing that they have programs on at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, this particular program. But from what I understand, this is a local show that is normally on Monday through Friday. But because the Super Bowl is today, they decided to do a special block party for Channel 49 or whatever the hell channel it was. And the anchors didn't even look like they wanted to be there. They're like, we get up early every day. Can't I just take a day off to watch the damn Super Bowl? I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday to come in and do this crap. And you're thinking that they're going to do some kind of special football themed episode where they actually talk about the game and discuss the game and maybe have local players come in and talk about this, that, and the other. No. All it was the same lame ass show they do Monday through Friday, with lame ass cooking segments and lame ass interviews with people that have nothing to do with football, but just happen to be wearing the uniforms of the teams that are in the game this Sunday. And I'm sitting there going, this is just basically a public affairs shows where somehow you convince the two councilmen that are yelling at each other to wear different uniforms. This is not, neither one of those teams is even from the state they support, and they have to wear these lame ass uniforms. Why would they even do that? They don't even talk about football. Then the cooking segment comes on and you're figuring, okay, maybe they're going to come up with some great, tailgate recipes. Okay, I can groove to that. I'm not going to use any of the crap they're going to talk about. I make my own stuff, but it's kind of nice. At least it's something about football. And then once again, it comes out, it's the same lame ass cooking segment. Yeah, I work my restaurant links and stuff. We don't do nothing but serve sausages and all that, and we serve sausages, and that's what we do. Well, that's fantastic. So do you have any ideas? I mean, this is obviously Super Bowl Sunday, and we're wondering if you could give us some good tailgating ideas on how to make some wonderful sausage recipes that we can use if we're going to tailgate or have a Super Bowl party. Well, as it turns out, we really don't. I was not prepared for that. I just came on here because this is the only show that would allow me to plug my lame ass restaurant. Because basically, it's just, it's just like a storefront with a big vat with sausages in it. And, I mean, we don't even put bread on the sausages. We just make sausages. If you looked at the sign, if you saw the sign, it says BYOB, bring your own bread. And it was BYOB. AC, bring your own bread and condiments, because we supply nothing but sausages. I don't even know why I'm on the show. I mean, we just boil sausages, and for some reason, idiots come in here with rolls in their hands and they stick their, I don't even know why, they come in with their own forks and they jam the forks in the water, they take the sausages out, put it in a roll that they supplied themselves, and then, they have it and they put their own condiments on. I don't know why a person would leave their house with a roll and mustard and ketchup under their arm just to get a sausage. I mean, they couldn't, to be honest with you, I don't even know how we're still in business. You would figure these people would go to the supermarket, buy their own sausages, but as it turns out, many of the people in the area are kind of stupid. Well, that was a great interview. It didn't help us much with regards to Super Bowl Sunday, and you really kind of just called all the people that came into your restaurant idiots, so that's probably the end of your business. No, they're really that stupid. They're going to come in anyway, and they're probably going to come in and say, hey, we're idiots. They're probably going to turn it into like a nickname for themselves. I don't make that much money, to be honest with you. I'm actually even losing money. I don't even know why I'm still doing this. We're going to commercial now. Bill, could you get us some real guests? What the hell is it? Nobody wants to come in this early. I didn't want to come in this early. Just we'll be back after this commercial. So what I'm saying is, when you watch these early programs, like I said, it's all just Super Bowl themed, so they can milk off of the Super Bowl and the horror off of it. But even when you go to the legitimate programming, which usually starts at around, usually what you get is you'll get reruns of, ESPN episodes that talked about the Super Bowl 3 days earlier, Skip and Shannon or First Take, show you clips, or they'll show a whole episode that came out on Friday, and then they'll put the word live on the screen, realizing not even, like we don't know, like we didn't already just see the same crap Friday. Get the hell out of here. And they, well, I think that this is going to happen. Yeah, but I think this is going to happen. We say, we heard you Friday when you said that crap. And then it's 2:00, and then the real pregame show comes on. Now, it's still 2 hours too early for my taste, but at the very least, you actually get to see football players. Granted, there's a lot of celebrities coming out there, acting like they give a damn about the game and just so happen to want to plug their stupid products. Hey, what's going on? I'm a real big fan of football. I love the game. Which is ironically the name of my new album, I Love the Game. It's dropping on Monday. So, I just happen to be here and wearing a Falcons jersey and a hat that has the logo of my album on it. But that was a coincidence. I was wearing this anyway. Well, now that I finished plugging my crap, I can now leave because I'm not even watching the game. I don't even know who's playing. I know the Falcons are playing because I'm wearing a Falcons jersey. I don't know the other team and don't give a damn. Now it's 3:00. And now you start seeing musical performances, some people that you've never heard of. And then you hear them play and you realize, oh, that's why I've never heard of you. I don't like you. Now it's 4:00. Now you start to see actual celebrities you've heard of. You still don't like them, but you know who they are. And now it's 5:00. And finally, 5:00, an hour and 20 minutes before kickoff, you start to see a real pregame show. X's and O's. You may even catch a player from the teams actually playing. Yay. Oh, this is great. This is what I want to see. This is what I'm talking about. And if you're at a Super Bowl party, this is the moment that you wish everybody would kind of shut the hell up. But they've been running their mouths since 2:00. It's now 5:00. The momentum of them not giving a shit has built up to the point where now you wind up finding out whether or not, if you're at someone else's house, if they have a television in the basement, they say, yes, you run downstairs, you grab some nachos and hoagies or whatever the hell it is, you sit down, you turn it on, and it's in the cellar for a reason, because it takes 25 minutes turn on because it's an old television and it's got to heat up first. And now you got to go back upstairs and talk to those jackasses. But you don't want them to know where you went. You don't want them to know where you went. Why? Well, too late. Hey, man, how come the television downstairs, it takes a little while to heat up. Take about 20 minutes to heat up, and then it looks as good as the TV's up here, but it takes a little while to heat up. About 25 minutes or so, it'll come on, and then you can go downstairs and you can watch it. And it's just great. All right. And you can look around and you can hear that about 5 or 6 people, all of them thinking like you. I want to go someplace quiet to watch the game while these jackasses sit up here and talk about everything that has nothing to do with the game and pretend like they're watching the game. And then, those people that when everybody goes, yeah, when something big happens, right? But the other people that aren't really paying attention, they try to join in, but they're about a half a second late because they really don't know why they're cheering. Yeah, touchdown. Yeah, touchdown. You weren't even watching. Yeah, I was just holding something. You ain't holding nothing. Right? You know what I'm talking about, those chumps. You want to get in on the free food, the bastards. Well, anyway, back to what I was saying about the TV in the basement. So you're looking around and you can see 5 or 6 people. People, you're watching them and they kind of tilt their heads to try to act like they're still in the conversation they're in, but they're overhearing something that interests them. And you're hoping they overhear a couple's relationship deteriorating and maybe a fight's about to start, but there's something in your mind that lets you know, oh no, that bastard heard that there was a television downstairs, that it was quiet, and I was going to sneak out of the room and nobody would have noticed it because they're too busy talking about stupid crap. But now I know, oh no, I'm going to pray. You look at your watch. It's been 15 minutes. You got 10 more minutes to go. You're hoping they're going to get involved in a conversation about something else. You're hoping they're going to start talking to somebody else about some other crap. You're hoping and hoping and hoping that these bastards don't realize that they got a television downstairs that you can sit down and watch the Super Bowl with your nachos and cupcakes or whatever the hell you have. And you go and you look at your watch. It's now 20 minutes. 5 more minutes, right? And you're sitting there thinking, how am I going to distract these idiots into getting into something else? I know what I'll do. I'll get these bastards into a game of Twister. They're going to act like we're all adults, but they're going to have a wonderful kid-like fun. It's going to be great. And they'll get so enthralled with that and distracted by that and the game that they won't even notice that I've already taken another hoagie and I got a cupcakes and cookies and chips and all of that crap in this IKEA bag. They're going to be, well, you walk around with an IKEA bag? Yeah, I was going to help Frank out with his furniture. Mind your business, punk. So you take the IKEA bag with the stuff you want to eat, you put it inside behind the door with the door open to the basement. The other people aren't paying attention. You already got the stuff you need. They're not going to be able to know what you're doing. They're not even going to pay attention. If they don't see it, they're just going to figure you went out for a beer run or some crap like that. It doesn't matter. You just want to slide downstairs. You just want to slide downstairs. You go to the door. You put your ear to the door. You can hear the sound of the television, so you ease on down. Oh, yeah, don't make any noise, please. Steps don't creak. Do not creak, you bastards. And the picture's not on yet. You creep back upstairs and everybody's playing Twister. You got those fools playing Twister. Grown-ass people who know some of them are middle-aged, some of them are in their 30s, but a whole bunch of them are in their late 30s, early 40s, so you know damn well there's a good chance a lot of these bastards are going to be going to the chiropractor, or at the very minimum, they're not going to be able to have sex tonight because they're going to pull a muscle. I don't care. I hope they all pull muscles. Yes, I like them. Yes, they're my friends, but right now, it's about me watching the Super Bowl without a bunch of jackasses making noises, or a bunch of jackasses making noises a half a second too late because they're really not paying attention to the game. Those bastards. You look at your watch, it's been 28 minutes. Wow, you were even distracted. And if you who were plotting on getting downstairs and being away from them asswipes, you who were plotting and plotting and plotting on that, if you were distracted, then of course these jackasses were distracted. Oh yeah, you take a couple of more sodas, you put them in the IKEA bag. Now you got a whole game's worth of grub just for you. F these people, you love them, but when it comes to the game, when it comes to your grubbing, and watching the game, F them. And you take your IKEA bag, you ease the bag downstairs. You go down the steps. Oh, it's me plus this bag. Please, steps don't creak. Please, steps don't creak. And the steps don't creak. You put the bag down and the TV screen is getting a little better. It's a little fuzzy, but he warned you about that. You know you're a couple of minutes away from a crystal clear screen in the basement where nobody knows you are and nobody will come down. Oh yeah, back up the steps you go because damn it, you forgot something. Damn it. You left your car keys upstairs and you don't want your car keys to get lost, so you got to go back up. Do I want to sacrifice this and go get the car keys? Because I know they'll help me look for the car keys. No, maybe I better go up and get the car keys because after the game, I want to hang out a little bit, but I want to be able to ease out of the house the way I eased into this basement. Damn it. You go up the steps, please. Steps don't creak. Please don't creak. Steps. You go up the steps. You look in the room and these asswipes are still playing Twister. Losers. You walk inside and you're going, I'm be able to get my keys without even engaging in conversation with anybody. I'm just going to be able to grab my keys and go back downstairs. Oh yeah. You grab your keys. You open your keys. Don't jingle. Please, keys. Don't jingle. Your keys are between, you pick your keys up. Please, keys. Don't jingle. You're about to put them in your pocket. Please, keys. Don't jingle. And they're in your pocket. Oh, yeah, you actually walk backwards out of the room slowly. Please, floor, don't crack. Please, floor, don't creak. You go to the top of the steps. Oh, yeah. You very slowly close the door. Please don't squeak, door. Please don't squeak. And then you close the door to the basement and you start to go down the steps. Please, steps don't creak. Please, steps don't creak. Please don't creak. You go downstairs and all of a sudden the picture is crystal clear. You turn the sound up a little bit loud enough for you to hear it and enjoy it, but not loud enough for those bastards to wonder where that sound came from. Not that they can hear it anyway, because you can hear them upstairs falling down on top of each other, playing Twister and laughing. Tee-hee-hee-hee, Bill, your foot slipped. Hee-hee-hee, no, it was you. Hee-hee-hee, who grabbed my ass? Hee-hee-hee, I grabbed your ass. Hee-hee. You know what? I kind of liked it. What? Just kidding. So now you're watching the game. On the land, on the home of the brave. And we're ready to kick off the Super Bowl, yeah. Are you hiding in a basement from your friends, you bastard? Shut up, commentator. Shut up. You sit there, you're watching the game, and everybody's they're about to do the kickoff. You're like, this is great. And you get a little thing, you're about to take a little bite of your sandwich. You put your thing up, you put the chips up, you put your soda up, and then you notice there's louder sounds from upstairs. Doesn't matter. Just means they're having fun. And then you notice something. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Normally being a very popular guy, having your friends love you, being one of the lives of the party, if not the life of the party, is a great thing. But unfortunately, if you're the person that everybody comes to for advice all the time, you're the person that everybody confides you confide with the secrets, you're the person that everybody pays attention to, you kind of realize how dumb it was to think you're going to be able to get out of the damn room. Hey, I think he might be on the beer run. Where's this Anthony at? I don't know. He probably went to the store. Okay, well, why don't you give him a call on the cell phone? Oh, no. If they call my cell phone, it's going to ring in my pocket. I got to get my cell phone out of my pocket really quickly before the damn thing rings. Pick it up, slip, click, click, click. Ha ha. Ringers off, you bastards. He's not answering. I wonder what's going on. Huh? You think? He's probably at the store, no problem. I ain't at the store, you dumb bastards. I'm in the basement hiding from your punk asses because your punk asses are making too much damn noise and I just want to listen to the game, you bastards. And then you hear the dreaded conversation. Hey, you guys, you're playing Twister and everything, and that's all good, but you're making kind of a lot of a noise. Yeah, you're right. We should probably stop playing Twister. Hey, you know what's great? You could keep playing Twister. I mean, the basement's nice and clean. Why don't you go down there and play Twister in the basement? Oh, no, you bastards. No, please, God. Say you don't want to play in the basement. Say you want to stay up there with everybody. Part of this is the togetherness. You know, I really don't want to go out and play in the basement because it will just be us down there playing Twister in the basement. And kind of the whole fun of the thing was being around everybody. Yes. Yes, voice who I have recognized, but right now I'm so terrified that you're coming down here. I don't know exactly who you are, even though you're a longtime friend. Please keep your punk ass up there. Ah, man. You know what? It's tied 16-16. Listen, it's not going to hurt us at all if we go downstairs and play the 21 and then come back upstairs. No. Oh, man. Okay, open the door. Hey, it's Anthony's down here. What are you doing down here, Anthony? Oh, yeah, I just came down here real quick to see if this TV worked because I was thinking about buying it from him, but it's not really working. But I figured since it was on, I watched the game. Hey, everybody, S. Anthony's down here. He is? Yeah. Hey, there's a lot of space down here. You know what? Let's not mess up his living room. Let's not mess up his living room. Let's bring the party down here. Oh, yeah, that's really a good idea, guys. That's really a good idea that you came down here. I definitely wasn't down here hiding from all of you because the noise that you're now bringing down here is going to completely ruin my experience. And now I can't go back upstairs because if I go back upstairs to hide from you, there's a good chance half of your asses will come up there and there'll be no place in the house for me to hide. And it's a 40-minute drive to my house and I'm not going to take that much time out of watching Super Bowl. So basically, my plan to be down here and not have you jackasses make too much noise for me to really enjoy the game has just been foiled. Kickoff. And the game has begun. Hey guys, now that the game's begun, let's start talking about nothing in particular as loud as possible. Yeah. And that's what the Super Bowl parties are usually like. But the funny thing about it is, usually when the Super Bowl, the majority of the Super Bowls in my adult life, I was either working someplace out of town, and I would be at a sports bar with people because when you're a comic, you work in a place, and you become friends with the other comics, and you become friends with the wait staff, the bar staff. There'll be people that come to the club that come to see you and like your show and all that kind of stuff. And maybe they want to show you around town, or maybe they tell you where the local watering holes are, or they'll invite you to a Super Bowl party there, or they'll tell you where a sports bar is and everybody goes there. And that's awesome. It really is a great thing. You're at the sports bar, you're having a great time with everybody, And a lot of times, you're not in the city of the teams in the Super Bowl. But, you have rooting interest anyway. Maybe it's a team that you hate or a team from your division or there's a player you like. So you're enjoying the process anyway, and it's awesome. So that's one of the things that usually happens to me. Or I'm back in whatever hometown I am, where I'm living at that particular time in my life, whether it be New York or Los Angeles or Philly or New Jersey. And I'm around friends. Like I said, I just described what usually happens at Super Bowl parties with friends. Obviously not that bad, but you get the point. And you hang out with your friends and it's a great thing. And like I said, there's always people that aren't really paying attention to the game. It's just kind of a fun thing to be around everybody. And it really doesn't bother me that much. I was just kidding about that. Or my favorite thing, or one of my favorite things is when I was living in another area, New York City, and I had a girlfriend. A friend of mine who was a lawyer had an apartment in New York City, and he was never there. And so he gave me the keys and he said, look, man, I trust you, so here's the keys, basically just treat this like your place. You don't have to pay a damn thing. It's my place. You know what I'm saying? And just, you got to buy your own food and crap and all of that. But all the bills, I'll take care of that myself because I really live someplace else. You know where I live. And, you just take care of it. When I come to New York, you don't even have to leave when I'm there. I mean, I usually just come in there, sleep, crash. When I come in, we'll hang out and do a kind of thing. Just let me know if you got a girl there because she's got to get out when I come there. I said, no problem, no problem. So I'm taking over his place, and I would take, a girl from up there to do the little Super Bowl thing, and little playoff things. And basically what would happen is I would go there and there'll be a lady. I'd meet a lovely, delicious chocolate lady, and we go over to the place. And I'm one of those dudes that I don't even lie to women about crap. Oh, you have a wonderful. I said, look, this is my boy's place. He's a lawyer. He lets me I take care of it for him. It's not mine. I'm not going to, I just want to let you know, I'm not one of them dudes that's going to lie to you about, and act like this is my place. Cause it really isn't. I'm not the kind of guy that would lie to you. She would go, oh, that's very nice. I said, because my place is much bigger than this. I have 7 mansions, a mansion that I live in each day of the week. But they're all being fumigated right now. I did not say that. But you go to the Super Bowl, you have to watch the Super Bowl on my friend in the house. You don't have the girlfriend come over and, she'd come over. I said, the game starts at 6, so I should be there like 5:30. No, you should probably get here around 3:00. Oh, why is that? Oh, definitely not because we're going to be having sex for 3 hours before the game comes on. I didn't tell her that. And then she'd come over and she'd be wearing, her football jersey, and I'd be looking at her going, ha, 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 that's going to be on the floor soon, hopefully. And then we'd ha, 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 and tee, hee, hee, and we set up some stuff to eat. Oh, the Super Bowl's going to be fun. Oh, that's going to be great. Ha, 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 hee, 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 ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. And then bang city. And then the game would come on, and we'd watch the game. And then the game would go off, and then more bang city. And then we'd go out to get something to eat, come back, bang city, and then I'd take her home. Those were much better than hanging out with my friends. I'll be honest with you. Love my friends, but I love getting it on with beautiful, beautiful black women more than just about anything. So what I'm saying is, I love the Super Bowl. I love everything around the Super Bowl. But I just think that there's so much dumb crap around the Super Bowl that kind of ruins it. You know, like I said, the analogy I was drawing with the business and the stuff that comes around it, sometimes it's just too much stuff piled on top of it, and it takes something special and kind of dirties it. So all the 9 o'clock in the morning up until 6 o'clock pregame shows, you guys are kind of ruining it. Stop whoring it out too much. Everybody's already paying $18 quadrillion for the damn commercials. So now I got to sit through these lame ass crap shows on every channel. Come on, damn it. Cut it out. So I hope you, my friends, by the time you hear this, by the time I upload this after it's been edited and everything, most likely the Super Bowl will actually be over. So congratulations, Atlanta Falcons. Congratulations, New England Patriots. Fuck both of them, because I'm from Philly. So, so I hope it's a great game, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, I mean, it looks like two great teams are going to get in there and whip each other's ass, which is exactly what I want. I just hope that it's a competitive game and somebody wins on a late field goal with 2 seconds left on the clock, or someone scores a touchdown late to finish it off, and then there's 14 seconds left on the clock, but it turns into I just want it to be decided really late, and I want it to be a back and forth game the whole time. That's what I want. And I know that's what you want too, unless you're from Atlanta or New England, in which case you're like, F that crap. I hope it's 49-0. And I can't blame you, because if my hometown team was in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be going, well, gee, I hope it's a back and forth struggle. No, I don't. If my home team was playing in the Super Bowl, I hope it's 900-3 at halftime. I want that crap over as quickly as possible. I want the janitor from the opposing team to be playing quarterback because it's so over. Yeah, I said it. So all I'm saying, my friends, is I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope it's an enjoyable game. I hope it's a competitive game. And even though I love the Super Bowl, some of the crap around the Super Bowl, get that crap out of here. You know you agree with me, don't you? Of course we do. Fantastic. Segment over. Every time I turn on the internet, I just sounded like a grandpa. I turn on that internet. When I go on the web, I see a lot of conspiracy theories, and I'll be honest with you, I find them entertaining. Because 90% of them you can debunk in your head while watching them, the same way you can debunk a politician when they're blatantly lying. But sometimes, if it's not a harmful lie, if they're lying about how great they are and they're lying, it's kind of amusing in a way, because you don't really think they're going to be able to hurt someone. That's what you're thinking in your mind, not necessarily lately, but that's the way it's always been. You just assume politicians are lying, just like you assume that bankers are stealing some of your money. You know that people are doing certain things, but what I've noticed is we've gotten to the point now, we have learned and grown to accept a certain amount of deception and a certain amount of lying and a certain amount of piece of crapness from people. Because really think about it. A lot of these fees and taxes and things you're paying are complete horse crap and ways to line somebody's pocket. But as long as it doesn't really affect you too much, you don't care. Okay, the gas price goes up a little bit, and a lot of those hikes are manufactured and crap, but it's only going to cost you an extra 2 cents a gallon. So it doesn't really bother you too much. I mean, what's that, 20 cents for your truck? Not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. It's hundreds of millions of dollars for the company, and you know what they're doing, and they're going to lower the price again, to lull you to sleep, and then raise it back up. You know what they're doing, and they're going to take money out of your pocket. The fees on your credit cards are a horse crap. They act like, oh, well, you were a little bit late. Yeah, well, you guys make mistakes too. How come you don't give me $35 when you guys mess up? Well, it doesn't work that way, consumer. Hold on for a minute. Fucking consumer with his problems. Is there a picture of this consumer? Put his picture down right there. I love spitting on pictures of the customers. Unmute the phone. Anyway, there's a little bit of that. And we've grown to accept a little bit of that. Right? We've grown to accept that there's going to be conspiracy theories out there, and most of them are stupid. Some of them may be true. But I'm telling you right now, I have a conspiracy theory. I have a personal conspiracy theory. And damn it, I'm telling you right now, I think the universe is trying to stop me from getting back into good shape. I'm telling you. Right? Because the first time I got into good shape, and when I was in my 20s and I got into super duper mega ultra shape, I was a fat bastard before that. So the world didn't actually believe, the universe didn't actually believe I was going to be in good shape. It was believed I was just like everybody else that was overweight. I was going to give lip service to it. I was going to kind of start, then stop and give up and then lose a little weight, then get lazy and stop and go back and stop and start like everybody does. So the universe, all those things that come into play to try to mess you up, to try to slow you down, to try to stop you from becoming successful and losing weight, all of those things looked at me and was like, we don't even have to waste our time putting up obstacles in front of him. That fat bastard ain't going to lose any weight. That fat bastard ain't going to do crap. And it didn't bother me. Every time I decided to go to the gym, nothing happened. I was able to go straight to the gym in my 20s in my new car. I was able to do the sit-ups and the crunches and eat the protein shakes and drink the protein shakes and the vegetables and triple vegetables and all of that crap. And I got in shape, and I got in good shape. I talked about the kind of shape I was in. I was in the kind of shape, and I'm not even kidding about this. I'm walking down the street, and a bunch of really hot girls in a convertible started driving behind me. They slowed down. I looked back, and I saw women in the car, and I didn't think much of it, because normally when somebody's following you in the car, if a bunch of dudes are following you in the car, you look back and go, what the hell is this crap? When a bunch of hot women with delicious bodies are driving behind you in a car, you don't think anything of it. You figure they're just looking for an address, and they weren't looking for an address. Okay, maybe they were looking for an address. The address was 1615 My Ass Looks Good Boulevard, and they all wanted to take a trip to it. How do I know that? Because there's a bunch of hot women in a car talking about the stuff they wanted to do to my buttocks and some things about licking sweat off of my buttocks like they said about that dude in the Love and Basketball movie. And everybody who saw that went, nobody really says that. And I'm saying, but they said that to me once, and I was, well, not once, it was 4 girls in the car. And I'm going, I can't believe there's a bunch of hot women in the car talking about how they'd like to bang me. You know what I'm saying? And I had a girlfriend at the time, and as it turns out, that was the wrong woman for me. And I think now, even now to this day, damn it, I should have gotten in the car and banged those 4 women. I wish I had a time machine just so I could go back to that moment, bang those 4 women, and then come back to present day. Who am I kidding? I would literally, if I had a time machine, I would go back to that moment, bang those 4 hot women, go back to present day, do whatever job I have to do, go immediately back to the time machine, go back in time, go back to that moment, and re-bang those same women again. And they'd be impressed with the banging, because quite frankly, they wouldn't have realized that I've actually made the trip 700 or 800 times or infinity times. Shut up. But what I'm saying is I was in shape, and the universe didn't even bother trying to stop me. Oh no, there were no obstacles. Oh no, there were no unforeseen circumstances that got in the way and messed it up for me, because that happens to you when the universe realizes that you're actually serious. That's the bad part about it. Now, why am I saying anything dopey like that? You know, I'm not really a religious cat like that, and I don't believe in that metaphysical crap. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. Because when I got heavy again, all of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute, I'm heavy. I don't like it. I'm going to get back in shape, and this time I'm going to stay in shape. Now, when you say that and you don't mean it, the universe knows you don't mean it. So it doesn't throw up any obstacles, because it doesn't have to. But this time I said it, and I think the universe knew I was serious, because now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, temptation after temptation after temptation, and all sorts of crap that are getting in the way to try to mess it up for me. Universe, F you. I go to a friend's house. I'm hanging out there. I'm going to take care of some business. I'm on my way out of the house. And the guy goes, hey, man, could you take this with you? And I'll come pick it up when I get over to your house. I have some candy for the kids, and I want to make sure I give it to the kids. Now, as a person who's not going to take anybody else's stuff, that's not a temptation. In my mind, it's candy for the kids. So I don't even think of it as a thing. All I think of is put it in the refrigerator. It's for the kids. He probably wanted to hide it from the kids so they wouldn't get it, and he's going to come over and get it, and he's going to dole it out the way he wants to dole it out. Then I get a phone call after the candy's been sitting in my freaking face. Hey, yes, man. Yeah, what's up? Remember that candy I gave you? Yeah, it's in the refrigerator. You coming to get it? As it turns out, I don't need it anymore. What do you mean? Yeah, my wife was thinking the same thing I was thinking. She got exactly the same damn candy that I got. So now we have twice as much, so we don't even really need it. Oh, okay. We would bring it back? No, you might as well keep it. We don't need all that candy, man. We don't need all that candy. So what kind of candy is it? All the types of candy that you actually eat, even though you don't eat that much candy. Well, the candy that you actually do eat, it's an overabundant amount of that exact candy. And now it's in your house as you've made the decision to get healthy again. And now you have 9 years worth of candy that you actually will eat in your refrigerator. And now after I hang up this phone, I'm going to forget it's there. And everyone's going to forget it's there. But you won't forget it's there. I won't forget it's there. You won't forget it's there. And he does that. And he's like, okay, no problem. I'll take care of it. I'll get rid of it for you. And the candy's sitting in my refrigerator, a big bag of candy, all the crap that I actually like. Even though I don't eat that much candy, the 2 or 3 things that I do like, it's all in that bag in a big pile of that business. And now everybody forgets that I have it, so I can actually just eat off that candy with no guilt. No one will know. There won't be anyone there going, I thought you were on a diet. They won't be able to do that because they won't know the candy's there. But I know the candy's there, and it's sitting in the refrigerator. Oh, yeah. I buy some stuff and I put some milk and some juices in it, and I actually push the candy in the back and push the milks and juices in front of the candy. That way the candy will be out of sight, out of mind. But obviously that's a bad plan because, I bought the milk and the juices and stuff for a reason. And the reason is to drink them. And every time I drink the milk or the juices, all of a sudden there's the candy back there going, I'm still here, fat boy. I'm still here. And the expiration date on me is 3 years from now. If you were going to throw me away, fat ass, you would have done it already. I'm just sitting right here. All the candy that you like. Chocolate and stuff. Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to taste better because I'm cold. And I put the juice back in front of it. F you, candy. I'm not eating you. Yes, you are. I closed the door. Bastards. That's all right. And the candy, I'm in the back of my mind. The candy's always, there's a little part of my brain that knows the candy's there and keeps reminding me I'm actually outside doing something. I'm talking to the guy who's putting the oxygen sensor on my car. Hey, man, this is going to take long. Oh, no, Mr. Thomas, it won't take long at all. Okay, thanks a lot, bro. Yeah, man. And it's because that's all he started to sound like because he's talking about putting the O2 sensor on my car, which is not really that big of a repair. He's starting to do small talk. I'm not paying attention to him. Why? Because on the other side of my brain, there's something going, the candy is in the refrigerator, fat ass. You know damn well you want some of that candy, you big butt bastard. Get your fat ass in there and eat that candy. No. I'm going to hear about this guy's life as he fixes my car. And another thing, candy. Is this man repeatedly saying candy? No, he's actually saying words. I'm looking at his mouth. He's actually saying words, but for some reason, all I can hear is candy. Fuck you, candy, you bastard. No. Now I'm beating the candy. I keep looking at it. I even took the bag out and picked it up and looked at it and spun it around and put it back in there, put some more stuff in front of it. I started to put stuff in front of it that I'm not going to eat eat right now, but eventually I do have to eat it, and the candy's right there looking at me. You thought that was going to help you out? You thought it was going to help you out, fat boy? No, you're going to eat me. You're going to eat me, you fat bastard. No, I'm not, candy. F you. And the candy's sitting there taunting me, but I didn't touch it. It's still there. Didn't touch it. Should have thrown it away, but I didn't. F y'all, shut up. Okay, the candy's torturing me, but I'm winning. I'm winning this battle. I'm winning. All right. That's not all that happened, damn it. Oh no, it's not all that happened. I go to the corner store. They call them poppy stores sometimes because there's Dominican people in there. And that's kind of a colloquial way of people describing the stores. People in the store aren't offended by it. They know people call it a poppy store. Not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. I walk into the poppy store and he goes, "Hey, Poppy." I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man? You've been a good customer for a long time, man. You always come in here. You do good things. You're great. You're fun. I like you. You're a good customer. You're always polite to people. You're good thing. You're good. You spend good money here. Somebody just left a hoagie-sized, fully loaded bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich with sweet peppers on it and extra ketchup. And they called to order it, but guess what? They don't want it, Poppy. They don't want it, Poppy. Here, Poppy, you take it. Take it, Poppy. That's okay. No, Poppy, come on. You're a good customer. Take it. And I'm looking at his face and I get the feeling it's going to hurt his feelings. He wants to do something nice for me. So he gives me this bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich or whatever the hell it was. All I know is there's a lot of cheese in it. And he hands it to me and it's still hot. And I get the stuff I was going to get. And now I go back to the house and I got the healthy stuff I was going to eat. And what else do I have? Candy sitting in the back of the refrigerator taunting me at effing candy. And now I got the big bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich the size of a hoagie. Oh, you bastards. Stop testing me, universe. Stop putting candy in my face, universe. Stop putting bacon, egg, and cheese hoagies with ketchup and sweet peppers in my face, universe. Oh, what a coincidence. This hoagie is the same way I like that. Is very similar to the sandwiches I used to eat. I used to get bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches with a little extra ketchup on it and sweet peppers, but it was just a sandwich. And now all of a sudden, it's one the size of a hoagie. You bastard. And in the back of my mind, candy, 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 candy. I take the hoagie, I put it in the refrigerator. I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to leave it there. One of my nephews is going to come over to visit. They always come over and he's going to go, I'm going to say, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you take that? I don't want it." And he's going to go, "Thanks, Unc." And he's going to go home and devour it. And he's skinny and in shape. It ain't going to bother him at all. And he went on vacation with his girlfriend. Great. So I take the hoagie and I put it in the refrigerator. I push it back there with the candy. And I put stuff in front of it. They're sitting there. I don't want it. I'm going to eat this salad over here. This salad tastes just as good as all the candies that I like, and also that bacon, egg, and cheese hoagie with the sweet peppers and ketchup. It tastes just as good, right? No. Bastards. That's all right. It's not a big deal. I'm going to the gym. So, oh, my arm's hurting. And as it turns out, I had tennis elbow. Damn it. I can't use my arms. I can't do bench presses. I can't do flies. I can't do lat pull downs. Can't do triceps presses. I can't use the kettlebell. I can't use the Versa climber. So, Doc, what do I do about this tennis elbow? Well, it's really not that bad. I mean, it's very painful for you. But as it turns out, you don't need any surgery or anything like that. All you need is a couple weeks rest. Just don't use the arm. Okay. So I can't weight lift for 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks. And I got a big bag of candy and a big bacon, egg, and cheese hoagie with... And I can't work out. I can do cardio. Ha. So even if I can't lift weights, I'll do some cardio. Ow, my lower back, I slip and fall. Hi, Doc. Oh, you fell down your back. You know what? As it turns out, your back isn't hurt that bad. It's not an injury, an acute injury. It's just like an acute injury. So basically, right around the same time, your arm will be back to normal. Your back will be back to normal. So, well, basically, just don't lift any weights or do any cardio. You can do some walking or anything like that when your back feels better. But just, take it easy. You can do some walking, a little stretching. That's how I can't lift weights and I can't do hard cardio. So no working out at all. And now I got a bacon, egg, and cheese in the refrigerator. Now, these things hadn't happened to me before, right? I actually slipped in the snow and did a header in the snow. And I rolled up, I got up, and it was like nothing ever happened to me. It was like it wasn't a big deal. It was no big deal. But all of a sudden, I have this little fall, and now it injures my back to the point where I have to chill for a couple of weeks of working out, and my arm is messed up. Really? And all of a sudden, people are handing me damn hoagies of they would normally not do. They would normally charge you, even if somebody asked for it and had it made. They normally would go out, here's the hoagie, Poppy. Well, it's going to be $3. You know, they at least charge you something, but he decided to give it to me. And my friend gets this big bag of candy, and all of a sudden I'm stuck with the candy and the hoagie, and I can't work out. Oh, universe, I know what you're trying to do. All you're doing is, see, the universe didn't realize that it was trying to discourage me from getting back in shape. But as it turns out, now I know the universe is scared. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the universe is scared because it knows I'm serious. There's no reason to throw up obstacles if I'm not serious, right? It knows I'm serious. That works out a lot sometimes. It works out in many other areas of your life. You know what I mean? Right? Like if you're dating someone and it's not going well and they're trying their best to get your attention to let you know you need to change some things, or they can't be with you anymore, and they threaten to leave or they threaten to take a break or to get into a fight with you, and you don't really think they're going anywhere, you really don't think they're serious about it, you're just not paying attention to it. You hear them, I'm going to leave you, and you're going, you ain't going no place. That's what you're thinking in your mind. It happened to me. I was going out with a girl and we were having a rough time. And she was not being the nicest person in the world to me. You know, she was flirting a little bit and she was throwing other guys up into my face. I didn't think she was actually cheating. I was pretty sure she wasn't. But she was making it a point to do these passive aggressive things. And you know, I'm always one of those kind of people that thinks that they can fix anything or figure out any kind of puzzle. So I'm figuring out she's pretty great in many other areas, but I figure I can fix this. I can figure it out. I can find out why she's acting this way. And maybe it's something I'm doing, and maybe it's something she's doing. Maybe we're at different times in our life. Maybe there's something I could do to figure this out because I've always been able to solve many other problems. I'll probably be able to solve this. And if I can solve this problem, then the whole finding a mate problem is solved. And then I can go on and solve the other problems that we have in our everyday lives. I can figure this out. It's not a big deal, right? But you kept being mean. Meaner than it was really necessary to be. And it wasn't fun, and I didn't like it. So I said, you know what? I can't be in this relationship. You're being mean. And I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I was just trying to get her attention because she was trying to be mean to me. And she knew I was talking crap. So she changed nothing. You know, just like when she would say to me, I'm leaving. And I knew she wasn't going anywhere. And I didn't pay any attention to that crap. It changed nothing. But one day she just crossed the line. It was just too much. I couldn't deal with it anymore. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And I looked at her. And she wasn't wearing anything. And I was in the process of not wearing anything. And you know what was about to happen. And she was still acting like an idiot. And I said, I'm done with this. And she looked at me as if to say, yeah, sure, pal. And then I started putting my clothes on. And she's looking at me like, yeah, sure. You know, she starts, the whole gyrating around, trying to get herself looking all good and everything. And I'm putting my clothes on and I'm looking at her and she's not wearing anything and I'm not attracted to her at all. She's naked. Everything I've ever wanted physically, she's right there. I've been on top of her and got it on a bunch of times with her. And I just wasn't interested. Didn't turn me on at all. I didn't like her. So what happens after that? I get dressed. She thinks I'm bluffing. I walk into the next room. She thinks I'm bluffing. She doesn't even come after me because she thinks I'm talking bull crap. She doesn't take it seriously. She thinks I was going to go, you know what, you better calm down, or that I'm going to sit in the living room and stew, and then she's going to come out, and then I'm going to go back in, and we're going to get it on, and everything's going to be okay. But no, I wasn't kidding. I got my briefcase, opened the door, started heading down the steps, and all of a sudden, I see a half-naked woman run out of the house. Right? I don't think she would have done, I'm sitting there going, and she's running across she had these cobblestones, and she's sliding all over the place. And she goes, "What, are you really leaving?" I said, "Yes, I am." And she realized I was serious. And then she started to try to change things, but it was too late. When you're serious, that's when people take you seriously. And just like the universe was trying to block me, when it realized I was serious, that's when it started throwing up obstacles. What are you, an idiot? What do you mean? There is no universe that's against you. This is just a series of random events, and you're drawing conclusions from it. Wait, you think so? Yeah, there's no universe that's plotting against you. What are you, an idiot? Oh. Well, it's still okay to look at things that happen in your life and kind of, use them as teaching tools for yourself, isn't it? Yeah, but don't start that universe crap. You sound like an idiot. Oh. It was just like, you could have thrown the candy out. Yeah, I could have done that. And the hoagie, how long do you think it's going to stay in the refrigerator? After a couple of days, it's going to turn into garbage. You weren't going to eat it anyway. This is true. Huh. What about the injuries? You're 48 years old. You were working out too much and you hurt your elbow. And you slipped on the wet floor and hurt your back. Wow, that's so unique. Oh. I'm kind of drawing really weird conclusions off just random events, huh? Yeah, but then again, that's pretty much your whole show. Yeah. So if that's what I've been doing this whole time and it's successful, shouldn't I just keep doing it? I see your point. Can I finish talking to my sass bastards, please? Would you mind? Yeah. Shut your punk ass mouth. Troublemaker. Anyway, folks. That being said, in all seriousness, that some of that stuff that did kind of happen to me. I got stuck with all of those things, and the simple fact that I was able to not eat the candy, not eat the hoagie, and the simple fact that I was able to work around, and I'm in the process of working around the injuries. Basically, that means to me that I'm serious. That I'm very, very serious. I could have used them as excuses not to do the things that I needed to do, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to use them as excuses not to get done what I need to get done, no matter what. So, you bastards, I know that there's going to be obstacles in front of you. You're going to start doing some stuff, and then, somebody's going to call you. You're going to miss a workout, or, you're working on a project for yourself, something to make yourself better, and somebody's going to do something to get in the way, or somebody's going to start taking up a lot of your time for stupid crap, and there's going to be a tendency to use that as an excuse to not do what you're supposed to do. And I used to do that. Oh man, I got home at 6 o'clock. I guess I can't. It's too late to work out now. It ain't too late to work out at 6 o'clock. Well, 6 o'clock's almost 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock's almost midnight. Midnight's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I go to sleep at 2. Damn, I might as well lay down now. No. It doesn't work that way. So I decided I'm not going to use any of these things as an excuse not to get done what I need to get done, you bastards. And I'm saying to you, my bastards, don't you do it too. You dig? Cool. Segment over. Well, folks, this has been episode number 253 of the S. Anthony Says podcast. I want to thank you guys very, very much for stopping back and listening to me talk all this weird crap for approximately an hour. Do me a favor. Follow me on social media. Where am I on social media? Well, I'll tell you. I'm on Twitter my personal Twitter is @SAnthonyThomas. The Twitter for the show is @SAnthonySays. I'm on Instagram as, surprise, surprise, S. Anthony Thomas. If you're on Facebook, look up S. Anthony Says. You will find my page there. And here's a blue check mark so you'll know that it's actually me. This show is on Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, iTunes. It's on iHeartRadio, Google Play. I am everywhere, baby. All you got to do is just Google S. Anthony Says, and I will pop up. If you want to support the show, tell everybody about it. Spread the word on social media. Or go to cafepress.com/, as Anthony says, and buy some crap. Or if you want to donate to the show to help the show out, go to paypal.me/ as Anthony says. Or what you can do is build a religion around. Okay, that's going too far. That's going too far. Don't build a religion. Just tell people to buy stuff, or just tell people. But you don't have to build a religion around the show, unless you want to. In which case, I would have to say then go ahead and do that, because I'm all for that. Okay, maybe you don't have to build a religion around the show. I'm sorry. I should just stop asking people to listen to the show and tell friends. Also, rate the show. Positive ratings. You've been giving me positive ratings. Make sure you leave some on iTunes. I know it only goes up to 5 stars. I'm trying to get them to move to a 6-star because that's how good this show is, but I'll settle for 5 stars for now. Full of myself. Anyway, in all seriousness, thank you guys for everything. You guys have been really, really cool. Much love to you, my Canadian sass bastards, my American sass bastards, my British sass bastards, my Australian sass bastards. Everybody, thank you very, very, very much. If I didn't mention your country, it's because I'm not home right now and I don't know which countries have begun to listen. But if you're listening to this, you got to know I love you, right? You know I love you, babies, right? You know that, right? Yes, we as a collective group of people that you've never met, we know you love us and we love you. Fantastic, sass bastards. Thank you. Now, I just want to let you know it doesn't matter where you listen to me. It doesn't matter whether you're riding on a lawnmower, whether you're on a treadmill, whether you're walking down the street. It doesn't matter to me. All I want to say is thank you for allowing me into your ears, into your minds, into your hearts. Much love to every last one of you. And I'm going to say goodbye to my beautiful sass bastards, my wonderful sass bastards, my sass bastards, the way I always do. On the count of 3, say it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. S. Anthony out.